But anyhow, then I, well, my folks always had devotions morning, and we always got the family in the living room after we ate our breakfast, and there we sat around and read the Bible. But it was make us understand and learn the language of the Bible, not because we were speaking Dutch, but this had no written language. But that was, so we started, but he never explained it to us particular, but at least it did something for us to read the Bible every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And pray together, because he had a book that he prayed out of, because that's what they did. They always had a book. They never said their own prayer. They just prayed out of a book. And that was all High German, so didn't understand it too well. But anyway, it did something for us that we thought that the Bible became important.
Mm-hmm.
Not just a tradition. And so then when I got in my teens, then I started thinking about it. I was already past 16. And so that, but to pray. So of course, I was already in bed. And then I thought, well, I just need to pray. So I got out of my praying. At that time, we thought you didn't pray unless you kneel down and pray. That was just a tradition. But after all, that's the way it was. Although my dad had a little saying that they said, but it's all German, High German, that we can understand it. But he always had that for before we ate. And they still put something in us to pray before we eat. And then I thought, well, I just need that. So I got out of bed. I don't know, I had shared this with you before or not. But anyway, I got out of bed and kneeled down beside the bed. Then I thought, well, what can I pray? So I thought, well, I learned the Lord's Prayer. And I learned it in English. So I learned it. So I thought, well, I'll just pray the Lord's Prayer. So I prayed the Lord's Prayer, and before I got done, or by the time I got done, I felt the power of God come down in my life. And it was so real. And I knew that Jesus had forgiven me, and he had filled me with his Holy Spirit. I knew that because he had enough teaching for that. We understood. But that was my experience. And then, of course, I told the Lord, I says, now, if you can do that for me, I'm going to serve you the rest of my life. You're going to come first. And I kept it. So, but I was in my late teens. I don't know what how age I was. I never wrote it down. Couldn't write down the date. But I remember Willie Wagnerstedt. He was preaching, and he said that I was listening. He said, Raymond, he says, later on he told me, I remember the very first time we were in church after you became a Christian and a follower of Jesus. He said, I know that something happened with you. He said, I could see it.
Wow.
And of course, I started reading the Bible, and read the Bible in English, of course, and so I could understand it. But he would have a real good way of doing it. He could explain it. He could read it in one language, explain it in Pennsylvania Dutch, and then he could also quote it in English.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped us out a lot. have a good teacher like that. Of course, we had about 4 preachers, 3 or 4, so he didn't get near preach every time. And he had every week, and only church every 2 weeks, Sundays.
Yeah.
But in between, in the summertime, of course, he had horses, so we couldn't keep them out in the wintertime. It was too cold for them outside, and so I didn't have any barns to put them in. So, just at the coldest part of the winter, they didn't have Sunday school, but others had it. And there, depending on which preacher was doing it, but Willie Wagner. Then another thing he did, we had Bible school. After school was out, we only had 8 months school, and we could have always Bible school. And Willie was our teacher, and he just explained everything in English. And so it was really good. That's the way you learn the Bible, the best way. I don't know, I hope I didn't they'll tell this before to you, but
No, I don't think I've ever heard this story.
But that was my experience. And then, of course, Willie said that the first Sunday he preached, he said that I knew something had changed your life.
Mm-hmm.
He said you just had something shining about you, that Jesus is in your heart. And so that was some words of encouragement. And yeah, even though, it was a little different, but we were a little older than what most of them are. But then it was real.
Mm-hmm.
And so then of course, we went with the youth, The youth, and we had that singing. Wherever this church was, after you were 16 years old, then you could go. And then, the youth, or then they always had singing for the youth, whoever the church place, and evenings, so then we could sing. Of course, we had to sing German for first half of it, and then the last half we could sing English, and then we'd understand it and what we were saying. And yeah, I don't know what age I was, probably 17 already. So I don't know, but I know it was real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And I promised the Lord, as that song went, I promised him that I will serve him till I die. We had a song like that. And it was a good song about that.